6 o'clock. Stand your pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Just a reminder to everyone to silence your cell phones. We'll start with roll call.
Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilor Garrell. Here. Councilor Klink-Cameron.
Yes, here.
Councilor Lindstrom.
Here.
Councilor Spradlin.
Here.
Councilor Tyree.
Here.
Very good. Well, we've all had a chance to look at the agenda. Do we have any additions or corrections for the agenda tonight? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve it.
I move we approve the agenda for the regular meeting, August 28th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Klink-Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor Lindstrom.
Yes.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Councilor Garrell. Yes. Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. We've all looked through the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any corrections or revisions? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting of August 14th, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Councilor Tyree.
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin.
Yes.
Councilor Garrell.
Yes.
Councilor Klink-Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Lindstrom.
Yes.
Mayor Sherman.
Yes. That motion passes. Next we have visitors and delegations. We've got a presentation for Kids at Their Best.
So you guys get to hear from me all the time, right? So I actually brought staff this time, and this is super exciting. So this is Alicia Alton. She's our outgoing AmeriCorps state and national rep. Her term ended last week?
Yesterday.
Yes, her term ended yesterday. So I have her for a couple more weeks until she returns to college in Bellingham, Washington. But she's my data girl this year and is going to do a presentation. And then you're also going to meet our new employee. This is Isaac Hall, who will be our workforce development person. So I'll let them take it from here. And thank you so much for having us. And huge apologies. I try not to misuse your time, and I did some scheduling conflicts a week ago. Huge apologies for that.
Thank you.
Well, Jody already introduced me. My name is Alicia Alton, and I am an AmeriCorps member at CAPI. Real quick, I do have some one-pagers. Did you want me to hand them to you now or wait till later? It's just going to be like some information about our programs.
You can do it after you're done so we're not
Okay.
distracted.
Sounds good. So basically, Kids at Their Best is a local nonprofit in Fort Morgan, and we do a lot of work around Morgan County. A lot of people recognize us for our Summer Blast program, which runs during the summer. And during this program, we typically feed kids 18 years and younger, and it's all completely free. They have their meals, they do fun like summer activities. We just kind of try to push for that educational support that some people don't really necessarily have during the summers. And then for these programs, we employ about 80 teams locally. So they work around at about our 11 sites, 9 of which are in Morgan County. And during the summer, we feed, we distribute about 23,000 meals, 1,300 of which come from the Brush school districts themselves. So we do serve a lot of meals. And when it comes to our staff, those who are over 17 do have an opportunity to be an AmeriCorps member, like myself. And basically, when it comes to AmeriCorps, their purpose is to try to help alleviate poverty in different communities. So during this term, they serve about 300 hours. And then once they successfully complete those 300 hours, they do get an educational award of about $1,300. And I did do some data recently, and from all of our AmeriCorps this summer, we did raise about $50,000 for scholarships for all of our employees. So that's a really cool thing when it comes to AmeriCorps, and it's a really rare opportunity in rural communities. And Jody just mentioned we did receive a grant to become the hub for AmeriCorps in northeastern Colorado. So this fall we had an opportunity to get 10 more positions for those who are trying to kind of figure out what they're going to do for the next couple of years. So that is really cool. And then our next program is kind of going to rely on Isaac. It's our college and career program. So what we try to do is we try to find scholarships for those who are looking for colleges. And you know, sometimes college isn't for everyone. So we do try to find like internships and job shadowing. And I'll leave it to Isaac to kind of explain what he's doing this fall.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us. I'm a new employee with Kids at Their Best, and I'm pretty honored to be working with such a cool program. So, as she pointed out, we have a really awesome summer program, which helps the community, which helps kids, feeds kids, gives them lots of things to do, learn, and a safe place to be and make friends. So we're trying to extend that into the fall and throughout the school year and create a similar thing for after-school programs. And we're going to give them a chance to do some cool games, some things that they wouldn't do typically, some stuff to learn about that they may not learn about in school. And again, just a safe place to get meals, make friends, and hang out. So, like she said, it's been a huge success in the summer. We want to extend that into the school year. And I'm in charge of workforce, so Mondays and Fridays I'm going to be giving tours to students, to small businesses and big businesses alike all around Morgan County. I've contacted 52 businesses so far. I've received 26 yeses, and I'm waiting back for a yes for the other 26, which I assure I will get at some point. And just to give them an opportunity to learn about different jobs that they can get after high school.
Cool.
That's about all I have to say. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
And we want to say thanks to Brush for giving us a really super cool park. Our program at Pettis was really successful this year. And again, your school district rocks.
So are you going to be working with the school district for the after-school thing? Okay, very good.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've gotten connected, we've finally linked with everybody, so we'll be able, the only thing we're looking for is space for Fridays, so we can have a program actually in Brush on Fridays, so those kids don't have to
I
drive.
have an app from
So stay tuned.
So
We got some
definitely
cool
I'm
stuff
getting
coming.
around back
Awesome.
to
Yeah, as of right now, the high school kids are going to be at our location until we can get more sites set up, like she had mentioned. And then the junior high, we're going to meet at Fort Morgan High School. So we're
Junior
gonna
high.
have oh, sorry. Yeah, the middle school. So we're going to have 2 different programs set up.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice job. All right. Next, we have citizen comments. Citizens are invited to speak to council on any item that does not have a public hearing scheduled. There's a 5-minute time limit per person unless otherwise noted by the mayor, and please use your time wisely as you only get one opportunity. This is the only chance in the meeting to address council unless otherwise invited. Please note that no formal action will be taken on an item that is not on the posted agenda due to the open meeting law provision. However, they may be placed on a future posted agenda if action is required. To better assist you with your questions, please submit them in writing to the city clerk and someone from staff will respond. Do we have anybody here that would like to speak to council tonight? Nope. All right. We'll move on to management items. The Central Square IGA with Morgan County. Chief Flecksteiner.
Thank you, Mayor. As stepping over from the work session from last meeting, I'm looking for approval for council to approve the IGA with Morgan County for the upcoming Central Square.
Very good. So I would look for, I think there was some information in here about it too, but we talked about it last time. So I'd look for a motion on that one. Unless anybody,
I move that we approve the Central Square IGA with Morgan County.
Second.
any discussion? Do we have any questions? Very good. Roll call vote.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Garrell?
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yes.
Counselor Klinkhammer?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, a special use permit, Tyler Purvis.
Good evening. So this is actually, I was looking at our agenda, this is actually a public hearing tonight. And so,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just, I guess be mindful of that we did give the proper notifications out to the community.
Okay.
So give the opportunity for everybody here to share accordingly. So,
Okay, so I need to open the public hearing.
correct.
There we go. Opening the public hearing.
All right, so in your packets is the staff report that was put together for the special use permit request tonight at 17 Industrial Park Road. As usual, I'll have a PowerPoint presentation to recap some of this. There is a change in there that I'll get to eventually with some new information that came since I had to get the packet submitted. But the overall overview of this project. Give me a moment. I might have waited too long. There you go, we're good. Yeah, you knew it was about to happen, Bill. All right, so this is a request for a special use permit that was submitted by Epic Design and Consulting LLC on behalf of the property owner at 718 Industrial Park Road. So here's a picture of it right there. And this is a request for what city code would categorize as mini storage, warehouse, outdoor storage, as well as professional offices. But for the sake of the presentation here tonight, I'll just refer to them as indoor storage, RV and boat storage, and offices. And included in your reports was the application, site plan, and all the supporting documentation. The property itself is located along Industrial Park Road in an industrial zoning district and is owned by Colorado Farm Products. These are just a couple more pictures of the property from some different angles and some of the areas that they're going to be utilizing for the request. These were taken last week. So here's the property itself in case you need to get some context for it. So just south of the what's normally known as the prison property. The primary structure on this property has existed since approximately 1988, and it was used as facilities as part of the youth detention operation that closed in the early 1990s. In 1991, a portion of the public right-of-way on Industrial Park Road was vacated by the city for private use for the facility. The property remained vacant until 2004, when a new special use permit was issued, and the facility then operated as a women's detention facility until it closed in 2010. Colorado Farm Products was deeded the building in 2015, and it was sold to Converge Day Treatment Center in 2017, and then deeded back to Colorado Farm Products in 2019. Converge had received a special use permit as a medical clinic in 2016, if some of you remember that, but it closed within a couple of years, and the property has gone unused since then. The building includes offices, classrooms, and some smaller rooms for various uses. And additionally, there are some aged recreational facilities, including a sports field, running track, and a basketball court located on the south side of the subject building. And for clarification, although I refer to this as property, it's actually properties, as the use has historically sat on a property line that goes right about there overall, but the reason why it was built over a property line, it was never really searched out, but it's not really significant, since no significant development has ever taken place on or near the property line, and ownership of both properties has to date remained as one, thus never making it that big of an issue that needs addressing. So the intent of the application, if approved tonight, is to prepare a portion of the building for storage use, as well as the outdoor RV and boat storage within 4 to 6 weeks following an approval. And then work to prepare the offices will be done at a later date, but with the goal to have the offices available for use within a year. Here's the site plan that was submitted as part of the application itself. I'll zoom in a little bit here on the top portion where the indoor storage and offices are going to take place. So the indoor storage will consist of approximately 28 total units, varying in size on the east and west sides of the building. Access will be from the north side of the building and will allow 24-hour access for individual card keys for space lessees. Access to the central area of the office, or a central area of the building for office spaces, will not be accessible from the storage wings. A fire suppression system is currently in place for the entire building, which will need to be tested prior to the building's use. There will be no restroom facilities available to storage users, and office operations for the project will be off-site. On the south side of things, for the whole boat and RV storage area, gate access will be from the north side over on the west side here. Drive aisles will range from 45 feet to 64 feet. There will be approximately 38 drive-through spaces that are 16 by 50 in size, 16 feet by 50 feet in size, and approximately 75 spaces that are 14 feet by 40 feet along the west, south, and east perimeter. Individual spaces will be marked, and directional signage or markings will be in place for vehicular movement. Yard lights will be installed throughout the area for lighting and security. The property currently has a 12-foot security fence around the perimeter that will be utilized, while existing surface improvements will remain in place, such as the asphalt track and concrete, but crushed asphalt or gravel will be brought in for the drive aisles. The overall criteria for a special use permit is laid out in our land use code. That's the screenshot of all that it entails. These are basically the 6 different sections that council is responsible for going over. What a special use permit is, the public hearing process and fees, considerations and qualifications, conditions, revocations, and then the timeline. So for the first one, special use permit is simply use allowed in a land district only by special use permit. So council gets the opportunity to determine if the use for it is detrimental, if it is in any way, what kind of conditions there might be involved with it if we want to move forward with an approval. This is to ensure all the proper hearings that go out. So this is a picture of the notice that was in the paper, the mailings that went out to nearby property owners, and then the public notice on site there. This also goes over, which will do a little bit more, the compatibility, or I'm sorry, the considerations, which will be compatibility, conformance, and the applicant's history of land use compliance within the city. And so when it comes to these 3 components here, the adjacent uses, when it comes down to it, to the north of the property, as I mentioned before, it's referred to as the old prison. It's currently vacant. To the east and south are vacant, undeveloped 5-acre parcels. To the southwest is an operations facility for Tri-State Generation. And then to the west, across North Ray Street, are 2 properties currently located outside city limits in Morgan County's jurisdiction. They're undeveloped, however, one was recently petitioned for annexation into the city of Brush, for which the review is currently taking place, and the other will remain in Morgan County, having recently received a special use permit from Morgan County for a 2-phase, 59.4-acre solar facility, if you're familiar with that project. So adjacent uses look good. Adjacent zoning, properties to the north, east, and south are zoned industrial, and properties to the west in Morgan County are zoned commercial, although zoning for the southern one will be assigned zoning if annexed into city limits. So the intention for industrial, our city code talks about an industrial district is meant to provide a land use in which industrial and manufacturing operations can locate as a permitted use when their operations do not constitute a detriment to the public health or welfare by reason of smoke, radiation, noise, dust, odor, gas, glare, vibration, particulate matter, or water pollution, and provide a location for industrial and manufacturing operations by a special use permit. And on it goes. So the proposed use that we're talking about tonight may not initially seem to quite fit the description of industrial as it's kind of described there. However, in our land use code, it lists both mini storage, warehouse, and outdoor storage as permissible through a special use permit. Professional offices, I thought I had it in there. I apologize. But professional offices is not listed in our land use code as a special use allowance in industrial. But there's office space throughout our industrial areas completely. Just right down the street from here, you have the Brush School District as an example. You have Morgan County, or NECALG. They own a building there for some office space as well. Buildings by design as well. And so it's very, very common. And so this is somewhat of a supporting role in that as well. So I think our land use code, since it doesn't define professional offices, I don't think that's a problem at all. It gives room for that. So in case there's any scrutiny with that. The last one is the use impacts. So in addressing any potential concerns listed in the code for compatibility, some elements always for consideration is traffic generation. So we're going from no use to the proposed use. So naturally there's going to be an increase in vehicular traffic, but given the type of use with storage is going to be infrequent, and there's really no concerns from a staff standpoint with traffic generation. Noise, no concerns there as well. Lighting, there's no immediate concern. The type of outdoor lighting for RV parking can be a condition just to ensure that the proper luminosity is appropriate for the location and use. Parking requirements, there's no concerns as the site plan has demonstrated that adequate parking will be provided for the use. And none of the proposed parking is located within the vacated right-of-way. So it's all, as it sits right now, off-street parking. And there's no concerns about negative effects on adjacent properties as well. So check for all those from a staff standpoint. The next one is conformance, how it goes to our comprehensive plan. There's not a whole lot that speaks to storage within our comprehensive plan, but there were a couple elements there that did support that, and there's definitely nothing in there that opposes what is being proposed for this project. The history of things overall, and this is where the new information that I had talked about that compared to the initial staff report that I had sent out. So back in 2016, there was 12 conditions that were part of the special use permit for Converge. And when I was looking through those, based on what I found, it looked like half of those were never met. And so I reached out to the applicants to see if they could find out more information on that. By the time I had to submit this to council for the report, I didn't get anything back, but since then I did. And the other 6 out of those 12, I mentioned earlier the property changing hands a bunch of times. And so the current owner, they had it the first time, and then it went to Converge, and then it went back to them again. And so their sale to Converge, they confirmed that all those were part of the condition that was supposed to go on Converge to do, not the current property owner. And so Converge got started. City allowed the operation to move forward. I don't know if that was because of a lack of enforcement, or we're just trying to be flexible and work with them and get those done over time. But their operation, Converge, did not last very long, so that could be potentially the reason why some of those were never fulfilled in the first place. But if there are any concerns, those can be definitely mitigated through city processes and code with any conditions that we put out in overall. So contrary to what I had initially put out, I don't really have any concerns about the previous conditions not being met, since the property owner ended up not holding on to the property anyway. Then after that, it falls upon city council to add any kind of conditions that they do see fit for the overall use and function of the property. And then this just is a big paragraph in our code that talks about any failure on the applicant or the property owner to not comply with any conditions. Council has the ability to revoke a special use permit. And then the last part is city council, your ability to specify any kind of length issue to a permit. So it can be original to the original, or be personal to the original applicant. It can run with the location, or it can be just transferable with any other terms and conditions. So staff's conclusion on this is pretty simple. Since the detention facility closed, and because the building was constructed for a very specific use, finding compatible uses that would serve the community in a manner that is also sustainable, provides a sustainable operation, there has been a challenge. So the proposed use of the property before council tonight is a good use. While the building and property currently show some wear and neglect, this is an opportunity for reuse and improvement of the site that would serve some of the storage needs and potential office space needs for the community. So this report would indicate that the requested special use permit sufficiently meets the requirements necessary for council's consideration. And so staff's recommendation is this with some approval. So we recommend approval, one, that the conditions of the permit are not completed within 1 year of council's approval, then the permit would be revoked and considered no longer valid. Prior to getting a CO for the approval of use for the indoor storage or offices, that the fire suppression system be inspected, tested, and approved by an inspector certified by Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control. A building permit and necessary subsequent city approvals be obtained for the storage use as described in the site plan provided in the report. All applicable building code requirements be met. Applicant must provide information demonstrating adequate exterior lighting. They simply just provide to staff what kind of lighting will go in there. Number 3, no structures be placed on that property line that I talked about or within 45 feet, which is our required setback in industrial zones between lot 1 and lot 4. The applicant prepare some kind of landscaping plan overall that could be implemented over the next 3 years. If not already in place, which I think it might be, having a Knox box on there that the fire department is good to go with. Number 6, install a visible private road sign along the south side of Industrial Park Road, where the private right-of-way begins on the west side, because I mentioned before that that roadway on Industrial is a vacated right-of-way, which that conversation is fresh in everyone's mind from the other conversation that we had. So that is a private roadway there, and so just that it be noted that that's a private roadway. Replace the existing monument signage, still says Converge right now, so replace it with what's compatible with this proposed use. And then the last one is that the approval not just be for the applicant, but is transferable to future property owners if they do exchange hands as well. So that is my report. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
To clarify, between lot 1 and lot 4, where you said that there is 2 different properties, I believe you just said it, that there would be no structures, just in case there's ever an issue between, maybe properties change hand between lot and 1, 4, and that way we don't have that issue in the future. Is that why you're putting that?
Yes, that's exactly it.
And then, I'm sorry if I missed it, Tyler, but you did talk about the neglected status of the building currently, but there is either conditions or hopes that improvements will be made to the property so that it kind of, I would hope that it, it would be, so that it would draw business in, I would assume.
So myself and our building inspector, we met the applicants on site there 2 months ago or so, just do a walkthrough of the building to assess its current condition and talk about some of the things that need to be addressed. So there's some general just improvements that need to get done from a practical standpoint. I think the roof might have been one of them as a replacement there. The exterior was looking a little neglected, and so there's naturally some improvements I think that they want to do there as well. Overall, I talked about, as one of the conditions, a landscaping plan, just to beautify it up a little bit. The city doesn't have any standards for landscaping plans, so you can kind of submit almost anything. That's a plan to improve it on some level. Something that we could consider in the future is having some more guidelines on that and standards on that. But overall, yes, there would be some improvements to the property.
Okay. The only other concern that I have, which I think has been addressed at this point, but I just kind of want to vocalize it and bring it forward. These are targets for thieves. I like that there's a fence. I like that there's going to be lighting. But I guess what is going to be, I do have a little concern on what the implication is going to be on our law enforcement.
Okay, and that I can't speak to, maybe the applicant will be able to
Just
speak to
something
that.
I want everyone to kind of be aware of. I mean, I think it's a great use, I really do. I think it's fantastic, but it's going to be a target, unfortunately. So that was my only concern that I had. Otherwise, I think it's fantastic.
Right.
I can see it too. Do we want to, does the applicant want to?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Epic Consulting, so Lori and George Farnwell, they're the ones who submitted the application on behalf of the building owner, so I'll turn it over to them.
I think Tyler's done all the heavy lifting, really. I think he's covered
Didn't leave
everything
much for you to say.
really well. So if there is any questions, please, we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
I would like to address Allison's previous question about theft and breaking in. Those windows, because it was a prison, are shatterproof windows. And that's a 12-foot fence, and on part of the property, there's a, is it 16-foot fence? It goes on the west side and then
South side.
and a little bit on the south. So the rest of the way, it has been taken down completely. But a 12-foot fence is kind of hard to get over.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great use of an existing fence. I really do. I just wanted to make sure that it was kind of addressed, because if the law enforcement does have to come out there, that
Exactly.
increases their workload.
Yes,
So I just want to make sure that we're kind of all aware of that.
understood. And then another great thing about this building is we've been in and out of the 2 wings when it's been 100 degrees outside, and that building is so cool. It's going to be really nice for people to store their household items in there, because it's basically temperature controlled. It's very mouse proof, and those doors, they're solid. The locks are the industrial prison type locks, and there will be a card key to access the building for the storage people. so that they can just get into specific wing. They can't get into both, and then inside they can only get into the room that they have been rented. So that's a very good use all the way around. Plus, the other benefit, it has that fire suppression system already in it. And I know they've been out checking it already, and our owner of this building has already agreed that, yes, he feels it's important to make sure that that is a functioning system, both access as well as the fire suppression.
It sounds like you've put a lot of great thought into the safety for all the tenants.
Yes, I believe there has been.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Following kind of on what Councilor Girl was asking, do you intend to install any cameras or security monitoring system on the property?
There already is a camera system set up in there because of its previous use, and that will be activated and used again.
Will
So-
it monitor just the building, or will it be like the spaces where you intend to have like RV storage and boat storage?
There will probably be corridors out there in the outdoor storage that will be monitored, yes.
It'll be for both, indoor as well as outdoor. So it's just adding to that security.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to reiterate while you guys are up here and talking through this, I think it's an excellent idea. And it's a great use of space, a great use of existing space. So congratulations on having a great thought.
Well,
Well, it'll get there, right, eventually?
it gets one of the hulks and brush, back into operation. I think it's a great idea.
Right.
When do you guys plan on being up and running?
We hope to have everything up within 4 to 6 weeks of approval, and that's for the storage parts of it. The offices, that's going to take a little bit more time, so that's a tentative target of a year.
Especially when that might be a build-to-suit type of thing, depending on what kind of tenant they might get for the indoor offices.
Cool.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anybody from the public that would want to speak on this? Any public comment? If not, then I close the public hearing, correct? So I'll close the public hearing. And look for a motion sorry. I'm new. Look for a motion to approve or deny this special use permit.
I move that we approve the special use permit for 718 Industrial Road.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Councilor Gorell?
Yes.
Councilor Tyree?
Yes.
Councilor Klinkhammer?
Yes.
Councilor Spradlin?
Yes.
Councilor Lundstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Very good, motion passes. Right. Dale Colbert with Water.
Hey, thank you, Mayor.
Team.
So nice to see you.
Yeah, glad to be back. It's been gone too long, so. But, before you in your packet, you have a memorandum on a final settlement with Classic Protective Coatings, who was the company who performed the repainting of our west water tank project. The project was successfully completed. All the quality control, quality assurance has been met. And with that, I am recommending, staff is recommending the payment of the retainage of this project. We typically hold about 5% back, just to make sure that if there's any vendors out there that have not been paid, or even whether it's their suppliers for the paint or whatever, or if there's any other liens that are being held against this project, that those are cleared before we finally turn loose that final payment. And as such, we received an affidavit from the contractors, which our engineers found to be satisfactory. Plus, we also published in the Brush News Tribune and the Fort Morgan Times 2 consecutive weeks asking if there were any unpaid accounts, any valid unpaid accounts. We received none as of 5 o'clock today, and so therefore we are recommending final settlement of the retainage in the sum of $63,698 or $89.15. So, any questions?
Very good, thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
I will look for a motion on that payment.
Move we approve the final settlement for classic protective coating.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Corral?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Klink-Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. Motion passes.
Madam Mayor, real quick,
Yes.
apologize to interfere with the things here. So one, I apologize for not coordinating as well on the public hearing part, on this being that all proper notifications were put in place. But for clarification, and I don't know if we need to amend that approval for the special use permit, but is it an approval, is it intended to be an approval with all of the conditions that staff recommended?
Oh, yes. I would amend my motion to approve the special use permit of 718 Industrial Road with the conditions as advised by
And
staff.
just as a matter of the record, can we just go ahead and, if that is the amended motion, redo the vote as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So with the recommendations by staff.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that? All right, let's redo our vote. Roll call vote.
Counselor Klink-Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yes.
Counselor Corral?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. All right, finance.
I move we approve disbursements and payroll for August 15th, 2023 through August 28th, 2023 totaling $395,787.68.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Klink-Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Tyree?
Yep.
Counselor Lindstrom?
Yes.
Counselor Corral?
Yes.
Counselor Spradlin?
Yes.
Mayor Sherman?
Yes. All right, that motion passes. All right, we're going to staff reports. Tyler Purvis.
Just a couple of items tonight. In follow-up with the petition for annexation that council approved to move forward last time, we're doing all the necessary groundwork on our side for that. So notices have been going out to all the property owners. All the different special districts have received those notifications, so they're aware of the process that's currently taking place. As we talked about last time, this project is moving quick, which is great. So with that, puts a lot on staff to make sure everything is in line. So there'll be a lot happening because we all know that dirt work is already going on out there. And so with that is the necessity for proper subdivision and zoning as well. And so next week, there's going to be a planning commission meeting for the preliminary plat. And then the following council meeting, the plan is to have that preliminary plat before council. And then ultimately the final plat as we get closer to the annexation hearing, or the same night as the annexation hearing actually, is what we're going for. So yeah, excitement going on there. Always emails go back and forth between the applicants and myself and engineers involved. Another topic, so the hailstorm, we're still working on all the consequences of that, both us as well as a lot of the other entities around town. Glass companies are backed up. We got roofing permits galore. We actually did a count from July 6th, the week after the storm, until the 17th of August. We've issued 138 roofing permits, and they're still coming in every single day. We get more and more. So supplies are backed up. Denver got hit hard shortly after that, and so the supply chain is just not there to meet the demand, and so we're getting pushed back further and further. So we'll continue to see roofing permits over upcoming months. As it gets colder, that'll affect it, so some of this may even spill over into next spring on getting some of it done. So if anybody got delayed for any reason, they may not see a new roof until next March or something. I don't know, but it's a possibility overall. But the city's still working through, working with Surso through all the different damages that we received from that as well. And then the last item, we talked last time about Proposition 1, 2, 3, and council gave the nod for us to go ahead and opt in for that. So the next day we did do that, so we're officially in there. We haven't been officially approved yet, but we went through the necessary steps. And then that Friday, the same week, the letter of intent was required for us seeking out funding to potentially obtain land for their land banking component of that to acquire land in town for affordable housing. So we'll hear back, I think, in November on that. And that's all I have.
I have a question on your first topic.
Yep.
Do we have an expected opening date of that road that is currently closed?
That I don't know. I don't know if Dale, you can share with that. Do you know?
I don't, not at this point. there's still a lot that needs to be done. Utilities need to be installed and completed. The subgrade needs to be prepped, a base put in, concrete being put in, asphalt being redone. So there's still quite a bit. I don't know if anybody else can speak to the date of when that road will be open, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done to bring it up to what the city would consider city standards.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is because, like, I don't know necessarily, I'm sure you did all the proper notifications to all the departments because you're so good at that. But I know that bus routes got altered, that obviously creates some access issues to County Road, is it T, I believe? So I was worried and concerned to make sure we have access because there's not a lot of access to T. There's 3 points of access, one of which isn't even near the city of Brush.
Yeah, so yeah, 24 going west and then 71 going opposite
Yeah,
direction.
so that now we've cut down to 2 access points, and I don't know. Well,
sure, and if the opening is going to be roughly when all the infrastructure is done, then we're probably looking in October.
okay.
Yeah, and if you think back 2015, 2016, when we did Hospital Road, we were faced with the same situation. I mean, whenever you have improvements like this, if you want it done right, it takes time.
Right.
And it will be done. And we did notify all our emergency management partners, in addition to the school district, who, of course, I can't reach out for the school district, but they were properly notified as well.
I think it became more apparent of an issue to me when I almost got head-on by a vehicle who didn't realize the road was closed and wasn't paying attention and turned around utilizing both ramps. So that's when it became really apparent to me. So I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. Chief Steiner.
Jackie Ann. So just a couple of quick things. The police department's currently using a SRSA benefit that provides access to the Cortico Wellness app for our officers. Cortico is used as a means to help build mental health awareness. It has a bunch of resources, podcasts, and other things to help officers anytime they have any kind of mental health difficulties. It's a great benefit for SRSA, provides us at no cost, so I think it was a good opportunity for us to be able to jump on that. Secondary was an update for Laura McConnell from East Morgan County Library requested a stop sign at the intersection of Everett and Cameron. The Public Works Director and I have been working on assessing whether or not it's the best course of action for them, pulling up data for any accidents that have been in the area or any other kind of issues that have been taking place. So we're still assessing that, but wanted to keep council up to date that we're still looking into it and finding out if that's the best benefit for that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm full of them tonight. With school back in session, how are things going with the campuses?
So far, so good. I know we did have a third grader on third grader assault at Beaver Valley.
Oh my goodness.
Just recently. I couldn't speak to how severe it was, but from what I understood, it's really about the only thing we've had to do. I have directed their officers to continue to update on extra patrols before and after school, and also maintain a presence in all the schools. So the kids get an opportunity to see us and know that we're still present despite the current environment.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Were you called in on, I was told there was a couple accidents in the parking lot at the high school in the first few days.
I'm aware of one. I know there was one that I was on duty for that I was aware of at the high school.
I didn't know if they called the police in for those or not, or just try to handle it.
I know we got called on one.
Okay.
The one that I'm aware of, I know we
Okay.
did get called on.
Okay. Very good.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lance Schultz, Director of Community Services.
Just a couple things. I'm sure you've seen it in the newspaper, but 2 weeks ago, the Gene Doty endowment, well, trust, I guess it is, they donated $50,000 to the improvements out at Prairie Trails Park. So that was, it was kind of shocking. They said, come on down, I've got a check for you, and thinking, happy for anything we get, but when I saw it was $50,000, it was just, he donated that land 20 some years ago, And he's been a big proponent of recreation in the area, and as you can see with the senior center there in Fort Morgan, and he's really wanting the improvements down at the Prairie Trails area too. So excited about that, and excited to get that project moving forward. And then the other thing is Brian Porter, the newspaper editor there at Fort Morgan Times, and Mandy at the DOW, we're trying to write a grant to the Division of Wildlife. There's some funds available for outdoor programming, trying to get more kids, especially kids who are underprivileged, to experience the outdoors, whether it's fishing, hunting, all that sort of thing. So we are actually meeting tomorrow and trying to get a grant sent off for the Division of Wildlife to get some funding and try to get more kids introduced to outdoor recreation. So something that you'll probably be hearing a little bit more about as the time moves forward. But they freed up some money, and I think that will really be a good program for the kids. So that's what I got.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lance.
Cool.
Dale Colwick, Public Works.
Well, it's good to be back at council again. It's been a long time, and I'd really like to give kudos to all of my crew for their continuity of business operations while I've been out. And so I want to give them a pat on the back. They've done a wonderful job. With that, our street crews are still out patching some asphalt, and with the heat that we've had lately, it's been tough, but I appreciate the patience of the community while we get this done so we can prepare for next winter. This last winter was very hard on our roadways, and so we're going to be trying to get that taken care of. We're currently flushing our hydrants, our water mains. We started last night, and we are flushing again tonight. The whole idea is you flush them, it keeps the brown water out of the mains and keeps your water fresh. But the more important part of that is for public safety to make sure that fire hydrants are in good working order. And if they need maintenance or if they need something done, then we can address that as well. Other than that, I've been working on right-of-way permits lately, planning on long-term budgeting of capital improvement plans, working with developers, both Armbar and North Point, on some of their developments that's going on. Working with the Chamber on some Oktoberfest preparations coming up. They're planning on closing down 34 again this year, and so we're going to try and make it a little bit better arrangement than what we had last year, especially when it comes to beat trucks and semis and vehicles and such, and make it a lot easier. One more thing that I would like to bring up is the county, as well as the Conservation District, Morgan Conservation District, is kind of bringing back to the surface our noxious weed advisory committee. I sit on that as well, and so we'll see probably more activity next year when it comes to educating the community about noxious weeds, what are they, and having to eradicate them. And so, and it is in their better interest. And you would be surprised what is considered to be a noxious weed in Colorado. Things like baby's breath, you wouldn't think about it, but it's considered a noxious weed in Colorado. So things along that line. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
I have a question about weeds specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I had brought this up at last council meeting about one of the property owners mowing the ditch company's property. The ditch company, especially running through the park next to the skate park, all the way to Emerson, those weeds are, I'd say, probably close to 10 feet in some places. Those are some tall weeds. They double my height.
Okay.
So are they not held to the same standards is kind of my thing, because we're inside city limits.
Talking about the ditch company?
Yeah.
Specifically?
Because then their weeds spread into people's yards, then, we get a ticket if we have weeds, and I just don't think it's right, and I think it needs to be addressed.
Sure. I will look into it.
I don't know. It definitely it was upsetting to see a person out there mowing someone else's weeds.
Okay. Okay.
Well, thank you for Monty for fixing the manhole by the junior high. I don't know if you came back for that. Was that you, Monty?
The The water pit.
Oh, the water pit, yes.
Some slender guy like me, I might have fallen in that, so let's get it fixed.
There's still a little bit of work to be done out on that there, but it was amazing that in looking at that meter pit, it was always at the wrong elevation, and it was probably predated the sidewalk, so I'm not sure how that all occurred, but we're going to fix that. Yeah, and I appreciate it being brought to our attention, because it looked like it was needing some attention. So, yeah.
Very glad to see you.
All right.
Glad you're back.
Thank you. Yeah, not rid of me that easy. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Joanne Gosling. Yes, sir.
I have one item this evening. I did receive the Morgan County Assessor's assessed values for 2024, and we'd heard rumblings about windfall of revenue, and our assessed value did increase by roughly $6 million, which interprets into $89,000 in additional revenue for 2024. But as you may recall, in 2022, our revenue reduced by approximately $84,000. So we're kind of back where we were in 2022, is where we're at now. So we lost it, and now it's back.
Very good. Thank you, Joanne. Lorraine DeBecker, City Clerk.
Just a couple things to update on the upcoming election. Today at 5 was the deadline for nomination petitions to come in for councilor candidates. We had 8 petitions come in altogether, and I'm still working on determining the sufficiency of 2 of them. And then we will be determining the ballot order next Wednesday, September 6th, here at City Hall at 5:30. And then the last thing to mention is that our new deputy city clerk and court clerk started today. So we welcome her on board.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Dan Krebs, City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm working through a couple of franchise agreements, an annexation agreement, and then working with Loranda on a couple other smaller projects, but nothing else to really report.
Very good. Anybody have any questions for Dan? No? Thank you, Dana. Kathy Torres, City Administrator.
Okay, I have got 3 items. The first one is just letting the City Council know that we have a small team from the city, Dale, myself, Patrick Heisler, and Tyler. We had some recent discussions in regards to our floodplain. Tyler wasn't able to make that meeting. I forgot to tell you about it, Tyler. But we did reach out at the last moment.
That's right.
But long story short is we had an opportunity to visit with some of CDOT's engineers in regards to the floodplain. And just a little back history is we sit 50-60% of our community sits within the 100-year floodplain, and we also have a floodway that goes through our downtown area and to the east from there. And we've always had questions about how the study was done, and we've got a little bit of new information from the engineers, and so we're going to relook at that and see if there is a chance of us reapproaching FEMA, the NFIP, Flood Insurance Program, CWCB, and seeing about changing that floodplain. So just new news off the press, and we're gonna keep having those meetings until we figure out if there's a chance of making a change there. So that's just something new that occurred last week. The next is a few months, about a year ago, we had Ducks Unlimited that came in, and when they came in, they did a presentation about a project they wanted to do on a city farm. It's on a city farm just south of Brush. It's part of a farm that's very alkali, and it was hard for the farmers to farm. Just was not the best. Long story short is they gave an update to council about putting in a constructed wetlands area, running water through it, and seeing if that affects the E. coli. And so they're wanting to slow down the water, let it pool. The sunlight's supposed to take care of the E. coli or drop the numbers, so they're doing that study. And they came in today, and we had a meeting before lunch, and they went over their timelines, and they're hoping to put that project out to bid. And it will be for 2 years that they try this. I think they said 2 years remaining, 2 years. And our city water department, they'll help them, or wastewater, whichever one Dale uses, but they'll go out there and they'll sample the water for them on occasion, and everything else is going to be funded by the Ducks Unlimited and a grant that they receive through the state. And there's a chance that we might put some money towards cleaning up Beaver Creek a little bit. That's also new news. They said they had received some financial funding or along those lines for that. So we'll look at that and see if there's a way maybe we can work with the farmers in the area, the county, and maybe dredge a little bit of Beaver Creek. And it might not change our floodplain situation, but it might help the farmers out and then drain our farms better so they don't become more alkaline with the water going up and down. So that's something new. The other thing I was just going to mention is I've heard so much about solar projects in Morgan County. It seems like every week there's another solar farm being discussed, and I received another letter today just letting us know that there's a public meeting coming up, and it's about a very large solar farm south and east of Rush. And so we have another one, a lot of solar farms going on in the area. So we'll get that out to the council members through Loranda, and we'll, if you guys feel like going to that public meeting, it's an open house, they'll explain more about what they're doing. It's a pretty large one, so it's not a few acres, it's hundreds of acres. So that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, Monty. Do any councilors have anything they'd like to share?
I asked all my questions.
I don't think I have anything either, really. So, all right, so I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?